Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another installment of Flyer Gonna Flyer. We got a good one for you this week. We're going to be talking about last week's games, all two of them. The Michkov usage or lack thereof, and the potential looking of a possible healthy scratch and the possible friction between him and Torrance. Hopefully not. We'll see. We'll talk about the Cutter Gauthier and Jamey Drysdale return to their oppositions when that second game with the Flyers and the Ducks. And finally, wrap in a little bit of Flyers Christmas wishes and talk about the week ahead. Sit back, relax, and tune in for another installment of Flyer Gonna Flyer. Hey there, everybody. As I just stated, welcome to another episode of Flyer Gonna Flyer. We got a good one for you this week. Our 25th overall installment. We got a lot to go over in this show, despite the fact that there were only two games. But we're going to make sure that we end up showing you a good episode today. As usual, I got my two awesome co-hosts looking at the man above me, Mr. Eric Martino. Eric, how you doing today, buddy?
Not too bad. A little exhausted from the holidays, all this craziness. So I'm just glad to be sitting here and talking some Flyers hockey.
No kidding. I'm kind of relieved it's all over. We finally get to exhale. Our bank accounts, our wallets, our credit cards are probably in pain, but that's besides the fact. We'll worry about that in January. We still have a little bit of the Christmas hangover lingering over when it comes to at least the financial aspect of things. And the man to my left, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jamey Baskow.
Aloha mahalo, people. Like Eric was saying, the busyness and everything of the holidays. I'm actually surprised I have hair left. With the kids being off and having their extended break, their winter break. You know how it is. They're up and down. It's like a roller coaster. You're like riding the King to Ka, which is the tallest north roller coaster on the East Coast. So, but yeah, we got some Flyers stuff to talk about. A lot of good things to talk about, and believe it or not, tons to talk about. Like Alex said, with only two games, played last week. So,
before we do go into it, I do got to ask you one question, Jamey. Did Santa get the kids everything they want?
My, and then some. All right, yeah. The Grinch came, put more gifts down too. So, yeah,
look at that.
The Grinch made an appearance, didn't steal gifts. He added gifts. I don't know if it was him or Max, but it is what it is,
That's funny. God bless Santa. God bless the Grinch. And I'm hoping you kids, and same with you, Eric. I hope your kids got everything that they wanted as well.
See, Eric's a smart man this week. He's wearing a hat. And I know why he's wearing a hat. It's because his kids are doing the same. It's like a roller coaster, up and down. There it is.
Anyway, let's get right into this. We got a big episode to talk about right now. Two games this week. We had the Christmas break, obviously, between the 24th and the 26th of the NHL. Had a little mini stoppage, plus a pause in between trades and whatnot, so no actual transactions could be made. But there were two games, one on Monday against the Pittsburgh Penguins and one yesterday against the Anaheim Ducks, both on the road. We are recording this on Sunday morning, so both these games have already happened. Jamey, let me let you lead things off this week. Give me a breakdown on this Penguins game to start.
Honestly, there wasn't much to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins game. They were obliterated. It looked like they lacked energy. They lacked everything. It looks like that they wanted to start the winter break early, the holiday break. So I think that they were just looking ahead for the holiday break. I mean, the goaltending was absolutely brutal. Fedotov was just absolute, not Fedotov, sorry. Urson was just horrible. It looked like, I don't even know. It looked like he wasn't engaged. I don't know. That was probably his worst game as a Flyer, I'd say. And then Kolosov came in, to try to right the ship, and he sort of did. He only allowed one goal. So he sort of, stabilized things, so to speak, if you want to say, I guess, with only allowing one goal. Their goal made it 6-1. Man, it was just brutal. They lost 7-3. It was just absolutely brutal, and I don't think there's much else to talk about. Nothing really good came out of that game at all. But you're looking at yesterday's game. What I thought was intriguing, what I thought the best part of the game was Cutter Gauthier being booed in his own stadium. I thought that was kind of cool. So, Flyers fans, they travel well, especially out, in the warmer climates, towards Florida. They always draw a good crowd, whether it's Tampa Bay, the Florida Panthers, they always have a nice crowd there. But they travel out west now, and into the warmer climates now. When they play San Jose, they're going to have a good, tonight in LA, they usually have good turnouts, against the Kings and stuff. But it was just awesome. It was like a pin dropped, and he was just being booed in his own. But it was great. And who knows? Maybe some people tried saying, "Oh, they were booing the penalty." No, the penalty came. The penalty was way after he was being booed. So no, he was being booed. It was great to hear. Flyers fans, kudos to you. I think Flyers fans deserve a hell of a shout out for that. Just my personal opinion. I think they deserve everything. That made the game right there for me anyway. But it was just great to see Samuel Ersson rebound. I think that was my big storyline, was finally Ersson. It looked like he was healthy, in control. It looked like he wasn't thinking about that, maybe a nagging injury that he had before. Maybe the break helped, clear his head mentally, which we talked about, that they needed. And so, but the one thing, Noah Cates played awesome. He's just playing awesome. Noah Cates, I'm gonna keep it for the past 20 to 25 games. He, even though he didn't hit the score sheet in the past 20, 25, he's on a 5-game goal streak, but he has played phenomenal. He's been one of the best and most consistent, steadiest Flyers forwards, I think. And I don't think he's getting enough clout and notoriety for what he's done. Before this, I saw some people wanting to trade him. I don't know why. The guy does everything. It's not even because he's scoring now. It's just he's winning faceoffs. He's not afraid to get in there and tussle a player, get in along the boards. He's a good board battler. And I think that's one area that the Flyers needed, was one who doesn't shy away from physicality along the boards. And that's been Noah Cates' his whole career. The guy, even when he played for Minnesota Duluth, Alex, you probably saw him a little more than we did, being that you're a little closer. So maybe you got more games than Eric or me. But I don't know. He's just playing awesome hockey, and it was great to see. So, coming out of that game, you're looking at Michkov, who might be benched today. That's what I'm hearing. So, I don't know. We got a lot to talk about in that regard.
Eric, let me let you have your take on this.
Yeah, well, you look, like Jamey said, the Pittsburgh game, I was extremely disappointed. Like, if there's one game that the Flyers should be up for, it's a game against Pittsburgh. It's a longtime rival, and it's not that they play terrible, but it's like they play lifeless. Like, I find this is a trend that's been going on the past few weeks. It's like, it's not that they play terrible, they just don't look engaged, or they look uninterested. I don't know if that's a better way to put it, but and it's like the past little while, it's goaltending and special teams, both power play and penalty kill, that have been just destroying us. So we can't score, we can't keep the puck out of our net on either special team, and goaltending. Like, look, yesterday against Anaheim, yeah, Ersson had a comeback game, but the game before was terrible. And again, like, we've brought this up before, like that game where Fedotov was pulled against Florida after 2 goals. Like, you see the pattern right now with Ersson. Since he came back from injury, he has not looked right. He has not looked right since he got hurt. And why not? Like, why did you wait that long to pull him? Like, he allowed 5 goals, and wait till he scored 5 goals to pull him. The guy has not looked right. Like, you were ready to pull Fedotov after 2 goals, but yet, like, you leave him out. Like, he didn't have it. Like, you saw, he didn't have it. So, like, why did you wait that long? So, yeah, that was, like, the Pittsburgh game was very disappointing to me. And, like, I want to shout out. I'm pretty sure maybe, Alex, you saw this tweet also, but I want to shout out at BT15.
I knew what was coming.
Better as Get Pucks Deep. When he tweeted it, it's gonna go 4-1 here. The Flyers will somehow get it 4-3, in which the Penguins will win 7-3 somehow. Then
that was the rules. I did see that. That was a great tweet.
Like, that could not have been more accurate.
I wanted to tweet him after and say, "What are the lotto numbers for tomorrow?" While you're at it,
hey, holy shit!
Mega Millions are up to 1.2 billion. Well, was
go out, go walk to your closest corner store, buy a lottery ticket, because, man, you could not have been more on point. But yeah, no, like, look, yeah,
You want to win the lottery? Primo's available.
Oh, yeah. I saw
I
that.
respectfully decline.
Oh, man.
That's a great point by Eric, and I'm glad you said that. And I'm sorry to interject here. The only reason I'm interjecting is because you know what? That shows that he knows the team. Like when he has it, and you know when the team has it, you know when they don't. So yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Eric. That was a great shout out, rightfully so.
No worries. And yeah, look, and I'll just go to the Anaheim game. Like, unfortunately, I only was able to watch the bit of the first period because Saturday afternoon games are just killer for me. Actually, it would have been perfect if that one was at 1:00. It would have been perfect, but no, it had to be at 4:00, and I had to go at a Christmas dinner with my sister-in-laws and whatnot. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
But look, from what I saw from the game, it's like it seemed to me from the highlights I watched, from the stats I looked at, that actually it seemed like Anaheim actually may have outplayed us that game. And I'm thinking to myself, look, Anaheim is still like a bottom feeder team. Why should we have struggled so hard against Anaheim? Like, again, see, that just brings to my points again. Like, I don't understand. Like, okay, the first goal was nice, but then like Morgan Frost was kind of a fluke goal that just went off the stick, and then obviously the empty netter. But like, I don't know. I think they should have put on a better effort against Anaheim. You were offered that long. You had the Christmas break. You had time to regroup, to refocus, and then like, I don't know. So that's my opinion on both games.
All right, I'll go a little more divulging into this. I'm going to start with this. The first period in the game against the Pittsburgh Penguins was the worst defensive effort I've seen from this team since the Dave Haxtell era. That is not an exaggeration. That is not going here at the moment. I have not seen the Philadelphia Flyers play that poorly defensively in their own end since the Dave Haxtell era. That's how bad they looked. Now, mind you, Urson was bad that game too. He allowed 2 goals that should have been stopped within those first 4 or 5 goals for sure. But I watched 2 of those power play goals, and they were tap-ins right in front of the net. Right in front of the net. There was one goal. I can't remember who was on defense, but it was part of the penalty kill that they had 2 guys try to forecheck behind the net, and they left whoever it was that scored for Pittsburgh right in front. I think it was the third or fourth goal of the first period that they left. Whoever scored that goal right in front of the net, it was just the lack of awareness on the kill covering your intended zones. You should not have 2 guys forechecking behind the net and leaving that big of an opening in front of the slot, point blank by the net. I don't care who's the goalie. You can't do that. No one's stopping that. Now, mind you, Urson allowed some bad goals.
Oh, yeah.
That game was just a shot that beat him right over the shoulder. You got to make a save on that. Second goal, again, it's another quick wrister. He's got to make a save. He's not making that big save that you need. And then the wheels kind of unraveled, and they just looked horrible defensively too. So I would say, technically, if I had to rephrase this, it was a little bit of both, but defensively, they just looked terrible. The second period, they found their legs. As our friend Get Pucks Deep mentioned, they found their legs in the second period, and they actually played pretty damn good. They jumped it, got 2 goals to cut the lead from 3-1, and then suddenly you allow a late one off of a bad turnover. It was a slapper that, again, I feel like Urson could have had. He didn't make that big save he needed. That completely zapped the momentum out of this game, 5-3. They did not find their skating legs in the third. They did not get really anything into the net. 2 or 3 of those periods were complete throwaways. Funny enough, the only period they really performed somewhat well was the second, which is the period they've been garbage in all year. But anyway, that was one of their worst games, I think, overall of the year. And then you move to the Ducks game. You know, I will say, even though the stat sheet shows otherwise, I feel like they played about a 50-50 game. I don't feel like they were quote-unquote outplayed. But I will say Anaheim played better on special teams than we did. Because the Flyers' power play looked even worse than it did prior to the break. They could not set up. They could not enter the zone. They were making ill-advised passes. I don't know what was going on the power play in that game. The first period was one of the most boring periods of hockey I've seen all year. The second period, the intensity picked up a little bit. These guys kind of found their skating legs. In that first goal, I thought Michkov was a big part of it. He led the rush. He got them into the offensive zone. He wasn't on the ice when it started, but they made a line change that led to that third line getting the goal, where Noah Cates kept his goal streak going on that nice feed from Bobby Brink, where he slammed a 1T on a goalie who looked like a fish out of water. They allowed a late one in the second. Urson got beat on a really good shot by Troy Terry over the shoulder. And, that was the only one he allowed. But he could have stopped that. But at the same time, I give Terry props. That was a damn good snipe.
Yeah.
He didn't really have anyone, trying to push off of him. He had a lot of open room. He was just a sniper pick in his pocket. Urson, not many goalies are stopping that. There might be some in this league, but most goalies are getting beat on that shot. It's just the borderline perfect shot. And then, as Eric mentioned, third period goes along. It's kind of a little more lethargic again. Kind of felt like that first period. Matvei Michkov is nowhere to be found. He's benched the entire third period. From what I read, someone stated that they thought they saw him get into an argument with someone on the bench, and they kind of just yanked his minutes from there. I think it was one of the coaches, but I don't know.
It was Torts, actually.
It was Torts. Okay, so that's what I heard.
But see, it's hard. I'm sorry to interject again, but it's hard to say if he's actually arguing with Torts because I don't think he really understands what's going on.
Okay.
And John Tortorella actually a few weeks ago, and this is why I wanted to come in to that kind of in regards to that you just brought up. I was hoping that you wouldn't bring that up, to be honest with you. But Tortorella spoke about this 2 weeks ago, and he was like, he doesn't understand a damn thing that I'm telling him when I'm on the bench, and that's why I try not to talk to him. So when he comes over, he may have just been trying to pat him on the back, or maybe he wasn't even yelling at Michkov, and Michkov thought he was yelling at him. It wasn't like a major argument between the two because I don't think that Michkov understands what Torts is saying. I think Michkov is probably just saying puck, puck, puck. And that's what Torts was saying earlier. He just wants the puck. That's all he'll say is, I just want the puck. But yeah, I don't think Michkov really understands. So I think, I hope some didn't take that out of context. That's why I wanted to say that.
Like I said, I don't know for sure. It may have just been, maybe even based off of his tone that he used, and maybe Torts got pissed at that. Who knows? This is all just what I'm reading on social media. I don't even know if this is definitely
Yeah. But, it definitely happened. It definitely happened, for sure.
Yeah. But third period comes along, he's suddenly not getting any ice time. And I got to say, it has been a struggle for him over the last 7 games during this point in the streak. But there's 2 things I want to mention. One, I don't think he's been getting enough ice time. And even before this benching, he saw 11 minutes in that Pittsburgh game before they barely used him in the third period. I think it was like 7 minutes into the third before he saw his first shift. And in this period, obviously, he didn't get any ice time whatsoever. Yeah. So I look at the situation, and we're going to be getting into this very soon, but I kind of want to make the point before we transition into this. They haven't really been giving him enough ice time to let him get out of this slump. And that's, you look at some of the other rookies in the NHL that have been given this opportunity. You look at a Celebrini, you look at a Hudson. What's the guy on the Isles? I'm name too, who's also a rookie. You look at a Will Smith. Guys like this, they're getting the opportunities, even when they're hitting their struggles, to play a little bit. Hell, even the formerly known as Cutter Gauthier got, it still wasn't a lot. He got 13 minutes, I think, in Anaheim, but it was still more than Matvei. Like, this is, since we're on the topic, let's transition into this now. So, John Tortorella and Matvei Michkov have been, I won't know if I could say squabbling, but Matvei's ice time has definitely seen a massive dip over these last 7 games. The last 2 games alone, he saw 11 minutes with 12 shifts, and now last night he saw 9 minutes with 13 shifts. You're not going to get whoever your rookie stud to get out of the slump playing him so little time. Mm-hmm. Let me lead with you, Eric. What is your opinion on all this before I go into in depth with this at all?
Well, look, at the end of the day, I understand. He's a rookie. Michkov is a rookie, but he's obviously a high profile rookie. So it's you want him to succeed, and because he is our future, right? So, and look, I understand that sometimes maybe if he's doing something that's that's not right or whatever. You want to like teach him, and maybe that communication thing is a issue on the bench that maybe Torts would like to like give him some information or give him some things like to work on during the game. But like because maybe he doesn't understand that he can't do it, so then I don't know if like Torts gets pissed, so just cuts his minutes because he's not doing. So like if it is a communications problem, maybe like I don't know, hire an extra coach to be on the bench to maybe just be like his actual translator on the bench. I don't know, but like no, like you're right. Like I don't. If you want to limit his minutes because like either he's struggling or there's something wrong, that's fine. Like I have no issue with that. Play him on a third line or not a fourth line because there's no use of having Michkov on a fourth line. But like, okay, fine. You want to play him 13 minutes a game on a third line? Fine. Let him find his game because like rookies are gonna struggle. But to bench him for a full period or like parts of a game at a time, like that's I don't know. For me personally, that's sending a wrong message. Like
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. You like I said, you want to limit him, playing him on a third line, maybe cut it. Look, the power play struggling. You want to put him on the second unit instead of the first, maybe just to like send a little bit of a message that way. Fine, but I don't know. I don't agree with completely benching a kid for a whole period. That it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And
I have to agree. I'm going to go a little more in depth with this right now. So we look at this. Obviously, this isn't the first time Michkov has seen his ice time limited or even benched in general. We had him get healthy scratch for that Florida road trip back in late October, early November, whenever it was, when the Flyers were having their early season struggles. And he didn't play those two games until he started playing again when they came back to Philly. And those two healthy scratches, it seemed like you got a jolt out of him. I don't know if maybe he responded well, maybe it was coincidence. I'm not entirely sure, but he suddenly looked like the player that they wanted to see. And I understand Torts' methods, but in this case, I absolutely don't agree with it. Because if you mess with a kid like that, of that magnitude, that much, he's going to start losing confidence in himself. You know what this kid can do when he's on his game. He had 27 points in 27 games before the 7-game pointless streak. Now suddenly, I don't even think he's a favorite for the Calder anymore. Celebrini's probably pats him. Hudson's probably right on his tail now. This is an issue. Now, he's been struggling, but at the same time, I'm not in the position where I'm saying you have to bench this kid to send the message. Because it's, as I just stated, it's just going to fuck with them more mentally. And at the end of the day, you want this kid to look at himself and feel confident in his game. And I think the best way to do that is to put him with the best performers possible. He had instant chemistry with Travis Konechny. Konechny's still going. It doesn't matter what line he's on. I think Konechny's got, 43 points this year, 42 points this year in 38 games, something along those lines. He looks like he's on pace for a 90-point season. Why not, with the way he's playing, why not put him on a line with Konechny, move Konechny over to the one left wing, and try that again and see if it at least sparks something. Even if it's not permanent, even if it's a temporary run, maybe it gets him going. I don't agree with benching a kid in this instance because it's just going to make him go deeper into his head. And it's going to suddenly become a chain reaction. I think Matvei will be fine out of this, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you don't want to mess with a kid like this to make the development process that much more rocky when you need this kid to be a rock star throughout the longevity of his career. Now, mind you, he's still having a great year as a whole. 27 points in 34 games. He's got 11 goals and 16 assists. He's been fantastic. But, you knew you were going to hit some point where he's going to struggle a little bit. And that point's obviously now. You need, in my opinion, the best way to go forward with this is to have the kids back, look at them dead in the eye when you have that weekly meeting with them that Torts has mentioned that he has all the time with him and his coaches, and say, listen, Matvei, I know you're struggling right now. We know you're struggling right now. You know you're struggling right now. But when this is all said and done, we have faith in you. We know you're going to get out of this. We're going to keep giving you these top 6 minutes. We busted our ass to get you over from Russia, which makes this even more contradicting. Why would you go through the work that you are if you're going to treat him like a third liner that you can bench or cut into his minutes regularly. Why go to that magnitude if you're just going to do that? I don't understand that. So sit him down. Give him a confidence boost. Be the coach that you need him to be and state, listen, Matvei, we have confidence in you. We know you're going to get out of this. We're going to keep giving you this top 6 times. When you put that first puck into the net, the floodgates are going to open again like we know they will. That's all it usually takes. It was like with Owen Tippett earlier this year. And now look at him. Tippett's suddenly up to 11 goals. He got streaky again. When you get that first one to go for you, or when you get that first point, the floodgates open and he'll find his game again.
No, you're 100% right. And look, at the end of the day, it's not like it's not like he's the only player right now on the team that's struggling. Like if you think about look, the Kate's Brink line, whether it's Forster or if it's Farabee, has been probably our best line for the past 6-7 games. It seems and one Tippett. So basically it seems like they're the only ones right now that are producing anything for our team. And look, with putting him on the first line, I actually agree with Torts on that, not having him there, because I don't want right now in his rookie season, I don't want him to play against the top competition. I don't want him to play against the top lines. He's still developing his defensive game. He's still, he's still developing in general, right? So I don't mind that he's on a second line, but he's got to be on the second line. And like I said, at worst the third. But you can't bench. He's got to work through this. And how is he supposed to work through this in a period where he doesn't play, or if he maybe gets 2 or 3 shifts a period? That's not how. He's not gonna work through it that way. And look, most of the games that I've watched, look, he's on a 7-game pointless streak. He has 0 points, but at the same time, I'm watching some of his games and I can't really look. He's made mistakes. He has. I'm not saying he's flawless. Sure. He's made mistakes, but again, to my point. Has Morgan Frost made mistakes? Yes. Has Joel Farabee made mistakes? Yes. Has Tyson Forster made mistakes? Yes. So he's not the only one that's making mistakes. And I've actually seen him make some really nice plays where look, he couldn't capitalize. The other players couldn't capitalize. One thing though I've noticed, I want to say this, I actually forgot. I want to say this last episode, I completely forgot. I find lately he's been passing up on shots, looking to make the pass. There's a couple of times I'm oh, he's just gonna rip it, and then it's no, then he sends a pass the other way or something. I find he's gotta go back to that shooter mentality. Look for a pass, but if you're not 100% confident that it's either the player's gonna capitalize or that the pass is gonna get there, dude, shoot the puck. You're an insanely good shooter. Shoot the puck. That's one thing that I've noticed, that he's been passing up on shots to make the pass. And so I don't know if maybe that's an issue Torts might have, but I don't see you benching a kid because he's trying to make a play.
Can I say something as an outside observer? Not a fan of the team, but listening to what you guys are saying. 2 things. You said he says puck, puck, puck. He just wants the puck, right? And now Eric is saying maybe he needs to shoot more and go back to that. Maybe they're trying to change him into less of a, and I use the word hot dog, don't mean not to insult him, and more of a team, I don't know, you know what I mean? More in the team, not being so much of the star. Maybe that's what they're doing, and he's struggling with that. Is that possible?
Maybe, but
if that's the case, I don't formally agree with that, because they take away from what he was throughout and what made him succeed up to this point.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe Tortorella's not the coach for him then.
It may just be that. Who knows?
Need a modern coach.
But listen, I like Torts as a coach. I do. But I think we're seeing I think we're slowly starting to see the end of the lifespan of him being a coach here. Realistically, I think there is a real chance this is his last year here. Well, I don't know. We'll see. He's not going to get fired midseason. We know that. They have too much respect for him. Most of the locker room is close, and they have built a culture, which is good. But if you're giving up that culture for letting guys play at the style that they feel that most benefits their strengths, then that becomes an issue. Because as a head coach, you need to look at that and find what guys succeed at and try to put them into the best position to succeed, not to put them away from what they envision them for doing. I understand Torts' style of coaching. It's very critical, but it's very fair. So, and I get that. But at the same time, when you have a kid like this, and he was succeeding so well earlier in the year, like I said, he was a point per game guy 2.5 weeks ago before he went on this little free fall. Why not get him back to what he was succeeding at? I don't believe taking away his ice time is going to do that. All you're going to do is just mess with the kid more mentally.
And look, I don't think even previously to this, I don't think he was like hot dogging it or like he was a selfish player.
No,
that's not what I'm saying at all. Like he was actually like I thought like he was distributing the puck as much as he was shooting. It's just that now I find like let's say he was more like 60% pass before and 40% shot. I feel like he's been going to like 80% pass and 20% shot, and you he's an all-around player. Like the guy can make a beautiful pass just as much as he could pick his spot and just rip it.
mm-hmm.
So, and I find like he's just got to do that more. He's just got to take a couple more shots, because before maybe like I would have to look at it now, but like before I feel like he was taking 3-4 shots a game, and now he's down to like one or even none. Like
he took one yesterday on that 2-on-1 rush with him and Konechny that I did like. Honestly, it was a pretty well-placed shot. It was just a good save by Dostal. But I agree. Like, listen, and this kid is a good playmaker. He remember earlier in the year how many of these really good passes he was making that his teammates just weren't finishing. I want him to. His playmaking's underrated. It's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
His hockey IQ is ridiculous. He finds guys in the smallest of crevices and makes these incredible passes. He made a good cross-ice pass yesterday to Jamey Drysdale, and during an offensive zone rush that Drysdale couldn't handle, and it was not that bad of a pass at all to handle. It wasn't like it was like the puck was hopping on him. It just hits his stick and hops over it. It's like it just kind of gave me flashbacks to early season Michkov when he was making those passes. Now, I'm not saying to stop passing the puck in general. I want him to continue to be a playmaker for sure, but he does need to have a little bit of a selfish bone in him because he's that talented. I want him to be a consistent high-end goal scorer as well as be able to have the threat to pass the puck like we know he has. He's got 16 assists this year, and the majority of them have been primary assists. So it's not like he doesn't know how to feed the puck, but at the same time, he needs to have a little bit of a shooter's mentality at the same time as well. That's what his game is. He has a phenomenal shot. His IQ is ridiculous, and he knows how to make passes when they need to be made. Does he make mistakes? Yeah, sure. Every rookie does. But at the same time, when you make those mistakes, you need to let the kid go out there, take his bumps, and learn from them. Otherwise, he's just going to be a basket case when you send them out there because he's going to think, oh, crap. As Torts has always preached, he wants players to play their style and make mistakes. Torts preaches this. So if you're preaching this and you're not letting a kid make those type of mistakes and play their style of game and learn and grow from it, then he's going to always have that in the back of his head thinking, crap, if I fuck this up here, I could be finding my ice time. I could be on the bench for half the period again. If I make another dumb turnover off of trying to make this type of pass leading to a rush the other way, I could be just finding myself in the same situation I was in a couple weeks ago in Anaheim. That's why I look at this and it's like, let the kid grow through this. There's a real chance, as Jamey mentioned before he left, that he could be benched today. I think it is a real chance he gets healthy scratch. Maybe that would be good for him again. I don't want it to happen. I'd rather him grow through it on the ice, and I feel like it could potentially mess with him, but it worked the first time. I don't know how much it actually worked, but what he was showing on the ice, he looked a lot better. Maybe giving him that game will help. I don't know. I personally don't want him to do it. I'd rather him learn it through the ice. I think it would be better for him that way, but maybe it works. Eric, do you have anything to add?
No, I just look, if he does get scratched, like we said, the last time he got scratched for a couple games, he just went on a tear. So if that is maybe what he needs, we'll see. Like again, like you said, I don't agree that he should be scratched because I don't think he's been playing bad enough to warrant a scratch. So look, if it happens, it happens, and if he's the better for it, then better for us. So
We will find out tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, that'll do it for our Michkov talk. Let's move on to another topic that we mentioned earlier in the show. Flyers played the Ducks yesterday, and a certain former prospect that we were excited for, who was our number 2 prospect, our other quote-unquote blue chipper, or not quite as good, not as good as Michkov, but someone who is going to be looked at as a potential 1C in the future if he worked out well enough. Flyers played against our old friend Cutter Gauthier, and he had some interesting comments going into, the game before, day before, when interviewed by the media, he had some interesting comments saying that, quote, "It's definitely been a game circled on my calendar, and I'm super excited to play." And then proceeds talking about how he doesn't let the outside noise bother him, and that the media likes to make things worse than they actually are. Maybe not the exact quote, the second part of that, but he started blaming the media and the outside noises for all this crap. Then he takes the ice and he suddenly gets booed in his own arena. Oh, if there isn't a level of satisfaction, if he thought it was bad there from the Flyers fans that were there, wait until he hits the Farg on the 11th of January. It is going to be a hellscape for this kid in 13 days. Now, listen, I don't wish any harm on the kid, but this kid needs a wake-up call. Cutter has been this entitled little prick, to put it lightly, since this whole trade thing has gone down. And I've gone on massive rants before on this, how the Flyers traveled all the way overseas during the World Juniors, and he wouldn't even talk to guys like John LeClaire or Patrick Sharp or Danny Briere, who took the time to meet with him in Sweden, and he just brushed them aside and made his decision well before that because he didn't get his contract instantly, and the Flyers wanted him to go back to BC for one more year to earn his keep, to earn his spot here. They thought it would be best for him. Cutter, I got news for you, bud. It's only going to get worse if you keep this type of nonsense up. He seems way too entitled, and it was so poetic for him to get booed and play like crap. And I will say this, I would have loved to be a cricket on the wall, or a fly on the wall. Why did I say cricket? A fly on the wall, to hear what Konechny was chirping to him in the third period when he made this dumbfounded face of disbelief. Oh, Travis Konechny is talking down to me, the Cutter Gauthier, who has put up a whole -1 and done absolutely nothing and put up a whopping 14 points in 36 games this year. How could he? It's glorious to see this kid have a free fall. He's barely on pace for a little over 30 points this year. Eric, what's your take?
Look, the Cutter Gauthier thing when it happened last year left a really sour taste in my mouth too. Like I really did not like what he did, how he did it. Look, if you're insulted by something or if something rubbed you the wrong way about the Flyers or how they're treating you or whatever, like go talk to somebody. Like figure it out. Like be an adult. Like you want to play in the NHL? You know who plays in the NHL? Adults fucking play in the NHL. And you acted like a little baby. Like you didn't get your way, so you pulled a tantrum and you said, "No, well, I'm not playing for you." Like honestly, that whole situation left a sour taste in my mouth. And look, I don't want to say that the Flyers are completely blameless in this thing. Maybe there's things that they could have done better, but at the same time, like if you're just gonna cut off communications altogether, then like what do you want them to do? Like, and like the biggest reason I heard was because like they don't want to bring me onto the team because their team's a mess, so I don't want to play with them because their team's a mess, and that's the pretty much the excuse I got. But like, dude, like you have to be like a little smart. They're a rebuilding team. Like, what's the big deal? Like, okay, we don't get to burn a year of your contract. Like, so what? Like, go. Like, like, oh, they want me to play in the AHL. Okay, bro, earn your fucking spot. Like, earn your spot. Just like everybody else in this world, earn your spot. But he, like you said, like he just seems very entitled and like, oh, if I don't get If I don't get it my way, then forget it. And like, look, at the end of the day, I don't want a guy like that on my team. So you know what? Better off that he's gone. And like, it didn't seem like he had such a great game. Like even him, he played 13 minutes last night. So, and like you said, 14 points. Like I think what did he go like the first 6 or 7 games without a point or something? Him too. Like
It
he
took him like
struggled.
16 games to get his first goal.
Yeah. So you know what? Like will he end up being a good player one day? Who knows? At the end of the day, like, but I honestly I don't care. And hopefully Drysdale could become something, and like he could be at the very least. I think, like I said, I think I've said this before. At the very least, I think Drysdale is going to be a very good second pair defenseman. So look, and who knows what that second round pick is going to be? Look, Anaheim sucks again this year, so it's going to be it's going to be a high second, which would it's like a low first. So who knows? And maybe that total package will end up being way more than what Cutter Gauthier will ever become. So you know what? I just hopefully like when he comes back to Philly, like he gets booed the hell out of, and like and like and just to see like that's the passion that the Flyers fans have, and this is something you could have been a part of, So like, but then you chose to like go to Anaheim, like buddy, have fun in fucking Anaheim, go to the beach and just be just whatever. Like,
It's funny too. I look at their social media page when Cutter posted that interview. I saw maybe 1 or 2 Duck fans comment on it. It was littered with Flyers fans just friggin' harassing him after this. And he deserves this. But again, I'm not wishing anything over the top. He doesn't deserve like death threats or anything like that.
No.
People who do that are absurd. No one should ever go to this point. It shouldn't even need to be said. But you deserve to be heckled. You deserve to be heckled for the way you handle this. When you were interviewed before you were drafted 5th overall in 2022, I remember hearing the quote of, "I was born to be a Flyer." Just think about that. And somewhat 8 months later, things completely pull a 180 on this kid after he said he was born to be a Flyer. And then, I remember watching an interview on Spit and Chicklets that he had once where he sat down with a few members of the media there. And I guess he went up to Torts, and he introduced himself, and Torts goes, "Fuck yeah, I know who you are. I'm looking forward to having you here." And Cutter's like, whoa, awesome. This is welcoming. I'm looking forward to this. And then again, flips ship and suddenly made the next year. How did because the kid didn't get the path that he wanted. He wanted to instantly be in the NHL. No one's handing that to you. You're not good enough to be in that spot. You're not a Connor McDavid. You're not a freaking Connor Bedard. You're not a Sidney Crosby. You're not an Alex Ovechkin. You're not anything in that level. You're not getting handed these things. You need to earn it. And the kid got pissed because he had to go to BC because he was told, yeah, I think it would have been better to go to BC for another year. Now, one of the things I did hear at the time was, I guess maybe the prior management, when Fletcher was on board, maybe told him, we plan on bringing you up here next year. And then Fletcher gets fired and Danny comes here and maybe he was told something completely different. And even if that's the case, maybe that's where the blame that you said the Flyers may not be 100% away from getting no blame in this. Maybe there could have been better communication, if that is accurate, between Cutter, Briere, and Chuck, if that is accurate. But even if it is, at the same time, if you're Cutter, you got to look at the situation and realize this is a completely different management group. I can't expect the same exact promises that I was given to be delivered prior to this. This is a brand new guy here. Now, I get it. Briere was the assistant manager to Chuck prior to this, but he was still a completely different general manager. You need to look at this like it's a completely fresh slate. What your old boss tells you and what your new boss tell you are going to be 2 separate fucking things sometimes, and you need to accept that. That's number 1. Number 2, as good as Cutter was playing in Boston College, the Flyers obviously saw stuff that is clearly transitioned in today's NHL because he only has 4 goals and 10 assists in 36 games. That is clearly shown in today's league that he was not ready for the big leagues yet. The kid's barely on pace for 30 points. Does this look like a first-round pick that was ready to make that step a year prior? Imagine how raw he would have been then if this is what he looks like now. If he could have just handled this differently, he could have been part of something special. You could have been playing with guys like Travis Konechny or Matvei Michkov or Owen Tippett or a team that has all of these assets to work with in the future. They have 6 picks now in the first 2 rounds. Now, mind you, they wouldn't have had that second rounder that Anaheim had, obviously, if he stayed, and Jamey Drysdale wouldn't be here. But if this was handled differently, you're still in a position where the team would have 5 picks in the first 2 rounds and 3 first-rounders. In a team that has clearly shown that they want to invest in the long term of this team. But no, you had to throw it all the wayside. You had to be a spoiled bitch. You had to be entitled, and you had to do what you did and weigh your way over to a minimal media. You don't have to hear the scrutiny that you would have heard in a market like Philadelphia, Boston, Montreal, Toronto, New York, Washington, Pittsburgh, etc. These big markets, maybe Pittsburgh as much. It looks like half their building is empty, but that's besides the point. But these big name markets that I did mention that are going to hold you accountable when you're struggling, you get to go to Anaheim. You take the soft way out. You go to an organization that looks like a complete dumpster fire right now, where players seem like they just don't want to be there. Look at Trevor Zegras. Obviously, he's hurt right now, but look at what Zegras was looking like before even his injury in the last 2 years. He looks like he's gone on an absolute spiral down a whirlpool. The poor guy can't tell the difference between his head and his ass. Like, I don't know, man. The way he handled this, it's going to be poetic justice 2 weeks from now when he comes into Philly and he gets fucking belittled with booze. And it's going to be glorious.
Yep. And look, like, from what I understood, from everything that I like either read online or heard on podcasts or whatever, people like coming out with like little bits of details here and there. My understanding of the situation was, because I don't think, from everything I understood, I don't even think that the Flyers wanted him to go back to college, to university, whatever, to the NCAA. From what I understood was that because Chuck Fletcher had told him, as soon as your season is over, we're signing you to your contract and you're going to come play for the Flyers. But now, how was Chuck Fletcher supposed to know that that season was going to go to fucking hell? Like, that was a terrible, god-awful season. So from what I understood was Danny Briere went to him and said, listen, we're willing to sign you to an ATO. You'll go play with the Phantoms. You'll go have like whatever, go on a run, because I think they had gone to the playoffs that year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, you're going to like try and go on a run with the Phantoms, and then we'll sign you at the end of the season. You'll come to camp and whatever, right? And then you'll be on the team. Or like maybe, I don't know if Beer told them, and then you'll have to like fight for a place on the team or compete for a spot or whatever. So, and I think that's what rubbed Cutter the wrong way. And again, but that brings us to our point again. That is a spoiled mentality, because Beer said, he goes, I don't want. I think at one point he said he didn't want him to come into a toxic locker room, which made 100% of sense. There was guys that hated each other. Provorov was still there. Guys were fighting. There was infighting. Why would you want to expose one of your top prospects to a room like that? So if that is the case, I agree 100% with Briere. I don't want Cutter Gauthier to be like part of that room. So what, bro? You go and play a month with the Phantoms? Like, who cares? You know? So so I guess that's what rubbed him the wrong way. Well, why can't I just go on the Flyers right now? So if your room is that bad, then I don't want to be part of your organization. But like, then they made all these moves to like clean up the room. So you could have, and like, there was a spot for him last season. There was. So I don't even like, he would have probably made the team. So I don't know. Anyway, that's so. I don't know. Again, it's just spoiled brat mentality, and I have no time for this. That's it.
I will say, I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. Nick Delorier is going to be in the lineup that night, and you're going to see some fights. That is my bold prediction, January 11th right now. Nick Delorier will be back to be off the IR and in the lineup for that game. I don't know who gets scratched. It'll probably, hopefully, be one of the maybe like Paling or something like that for a game. I don't know. But that Nick Delorier will be in the lineup. Book that. and there will be some fights. It's gonna be a lot more physical than what we saw yesterday in Anaheim. But we're gonna wrap this up before we go on to the week ahead games. I did make a little thing that I want to say. Christmas just passed us, and we were talking about off the air. What's our wish list? What's our Christmas wish list? I want to limit this to one gift. If the Flyers could give you one gift, Eric, right now, what would it be?
Well, if it's only one, I want it to be a center. Like, please God, just bring me a center. Santa Claus. Like, I don't know if I've been bad or what, but like, I want a center. Please, come on, because this is getting ridiculous. We need a center so bad. Like, look, Luchenko's. We know like Luchenko might be coming next year, but even him, like, right, he's only going to be 19 years old. So
he looked good at World Juniors. I got to say it.
Look,
he looked good in that game against Latavia.
Yeah, he did. He actually that shorthanded goal that he scored was a beauty. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't get a chance in the shootout. Like, the guy pretty much scored a shootout, like a breakaway goal, and then you don't use him in the shootout. Oh, anyway, whatever. It's another conversation for a different day. But
as Jamey said, why the hell is Luca Pinelli there?
What? Luca Pinelli did score a goal though the game before. So.
That's true. I
was actually thinking of Jamey during that game. I'm like, when Luca Pinelli scored.
Talk about the best of two worlds.
So no, but look, he's coming. But again, like, is he gonna at 19? Is he really gonna be ready to like dominate and to like be that center that we need? Like, either way, even if he does make the team, and we still need another center. We still need another center. Like, it's we're the void. This organization is just the void of centers. So yeah, if I want one wish, one thing on my wish list is definitely a center.
So I would be the easy way out for me to pick that too. That would be at the top of my wish list. But I'm going to say another one. My Christmas gift right now is for Matvei Michkov to get right. He's obviously been struggling right now. Obviously, the center is probably up there too. And once Matvei's back to normal, I'm probably going to say, give me the center. But I want Matvei to get right now. Obviously, he's struggling, and I want to see him explode his next game. I want to see him have a multi-point, 1 goal, 1 assist game. I don't want this kid to be in his head. I want him to look in the mirror and say, I'm him. I've been him since I hit the skating rinks when I was a kid, and I'm going to show the world why I'm him again. I'm going to show the world why this organization invested so much in me. I'm going to show the world why they got me here 2 years early to be this franchise's cornerstone player and to hopefully one day lift the Stanley Cup for Philadelphia. I want to show again why I'm him. I've always been him. I'm Matvei fucking Michkov, and I'm going to show you that. That's my Christmas wish. I want him to be him again. And I know he will. It's kind of an easy gift to ask for because I'm not worried about this. But I do want to see it sooner rather than later. So I want to see Matvei be him again. But yeah, with that being said, quick little talk on those Christmas gift ideas. We got a few games this week coming up, a little more active of a week than last week. Flyers, I believe, have 3 games coming up this week, not counting next Sunday. So they have the Kings tonight at 9 p.m. Tuesday, on New Year's Eve, they got the Sharks at 8 p.m. Thursday, actually, they got 4, I believe. 3 or 4, hold on. Thursday, they got Vegas at 10 p.m. Yay for these West Coast games. And then Sunday is the Leafs at 7 p.m., but we're not going to count that one. So we'll just do these 3 for now. So here we go. Kings, Sharks, and Vegas. Eric, let's hear your prediction for the week.
I am definitely not very optimistic about these 3 games. Like, we just recently played LA and they beat us 7-3. That was not a good game by the Flyers. Nope. So I'm look, the Kings are just a really good team. And So I can't predict a win. So I think they lose to the Kings. San Jose is a team more or less in our boat that like technically they're worse than us, but the way the Flyers are playing right now, like I can't really say that they're that much worse than us. And that's gonna be an interesting game. It's gonna be Celebrini versus Michkov again, battle for the Calder. So that's gonna be an interesting game. So if there's one that I think they could win, it's definitely that one, because then Vegas after that, they're playing another tough top team. And like I said, the way the goaltending's been lately, and look, I want to say Urson actually, like that game against Anaheim, played
He was
really,
solid.
really well. I don't fault him for that goal he gave up. I think it was just like a double screen that he had no. I think he just lost sight of the puck and had no clue where that puck went.
Mhm.
Like I said before, like since like, and I actually there's just one little thing I want to say, because I've been hearing a lot of like Urson trashing the last little while. That look, and he has not been great, but he's not been great since he came back from the second time he came back from the injury. Because before that, before his initial injury, he was playing very well. Like he had maybe one or two clunkers here and there, but like he was playing very well, and he had a lot of games over 900 in save percentages, a couple of shutouts and everything. So, and look, if that last game is an indication of Urson being back, that just helps us so much more. And special teams have just been in the toilet, both penalty kill and power play the last little while. So, but yeah, no, look, I don't. So I think maybe best case scenario 1-2 this week.
I'm going to say this week, so you know me, I like to do the scores on top of it. They're going to lose tonight to the Kings in overtime. I think this game's going to be more competitive. Last year, it's funny, when they went on their West Coast road trip in Cali, they lost to the Sharks, but they beat the Kings and the Ducks. I expected them to get mollywopped against the Kings last year when they played them. And I was in and out of sleep that entire game, and I woke up to see they won. I think it was like 5-2. I'm going to say they seem like it's weird, but they always seem like they play better against the Kings in LA than at home. It's been like that the last couple of years, I feel like. I'm going to say they lose that game, but in overtime, 4-3. They beat the Sharks. I'm going to say 4-2. Celebrini and Michkov both score a goal in that game. And Vegas, 6-0 loss. I think they're going to get smoked by them. I think they played well against Vegas last year too. Although this isn't last year, but I think they played Vegas in that like Frozen Frenzy thing last year, if I remember correctly. And it was like an 11 p.m. game. I barely got to watch any of it because I had work. But they played them tough from what I read. And then they beat them at home last year. But this year, Vegas looks like the best team in hockey at this moment. They have been on another level. They passed Winnipeg, in my opinion. They're ahead of like Carolina or New Jersey or Toronto or Florida or whatever. I think Vegas looks like the team to beat at this moment. They look like a well-oiled machine. They're going to show that against us. I have them smoking us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for this week, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Eric, awesome to have you again. Jamey, for the little time that we did have him, you let us know ahead of time that this is going to be a short week for him, which is quite all right. Jamey, appreciate you coming on for as long as you did today. We love and appreciate you as well. But with that being said, this was our 25th episode. So a little milestone episode for Flyer, again a Flyer. But with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Take care. Hope to see you next week. And as always, let's go Flyers.